All right. Welcome, Dustin.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
The DJ. Big D is in the house.
It's the double DJ.
Double DJ. Oh, dude. So, how have you been, man? How's since the last I saw you at the restaurant?
Good. I mean, it's been a roller coaster, but we're acclimating and moving forward.
Right. With the roastery, like Dustin's got that roastery in Jalan Nakhon, and he's from Left Hand Roasters, and dude, some of the best coffee ever. It's you don't get it like it's like 100%. It's like one of the best, man. Where can we get your coffee in Bangkok?
Well, typically we're a e-commerce platform, but we distribute with other people as well. We have a retail shelf with Cad Coco at both their locations. We have something at Siri House with Luca. We supply to a lot of hotels and restaurants and kind of set up and curate coffee programs that highlight what we do.
Right. Dustin, you might getting the mic a little closer. Yeah, you can pull. You can play around with it. Yeah, not too far. It was a little light.
Turn my headphones up.
Yeah.
No,
Okay, your headphones up.
No, they're good.
You're good. Okay. The sounds are good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean the difficulty for me, right, like as a normal, like a typical, coffee consumer, it's been a little difficult to get a hold of your coffee beans. I go into the Instagram profile and it's like super cool, right? The contents are super nice, but obviously it's never gonna be as accessible as something like a Starbucks, right? It's still a little bit in the niche, and maybe you'd like to explain more about that, man.
Yeah, let me give you the elevator pitch about what we do.
Yeah.
So first of all, set the tone. I'm not the coffee guy. My background is culinary and food, sustainability, agriculture. Setting a platform for people and helping give a voice to people and who need it the most. And Left Hand kind of started as it's a social project. So it's about examining and approaching and talking about the food system. So essentially, like,
right.
Let's talk about how messed up our food system is over a cup of coffee. Something that's international, crosses borders. It's everyone can relate to it in one way or another.
Right.
It started about 12 years ago. We began
in Thailand 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
I moved to Thailand about 15 years ago to study Thai cuisine.
Dude, I literally, like, I had no idea you were here 15 years already, man. I thought you were here like maybe 5 years tops.
Actually,
5 years tops.
2005 I moved here when I was about 18, almost 19.
Yeah, but when you also 18, 19, oh man, you came here like in your youth.
Yeah, I mean
the fire must be like stroking like strong, man, still.
Yeah, I mean it's a beautiful thing. I love Thailand, and I moved here originally because I kind of fell in love with the culture and how people approach things, the sense of community, and obviously the food. I started cooking when I was about 14. I moved out of the house when I was 15 and began my own path and career by myself, and kind of building up a reputation and working through it. So, when I first met Thai coffee, it was more about, I'm driving around the hills of northern Thailand in Mae Hong Son, and like I'm looking for ingredients. I'm always interested. I'm an ingredient-driven chef in general. So I was looking for things that, interesting things, and I'm on top of this mountain and they're growing coffee, and I'm like, whoa, coffee? Like, what's up with that? And I started had a friend, translating for me, and they're like, why are you growing coffee? And they're like, well, it was kind of given to us as an alternative cash crop, mostly to opium. So it was a means of making income and sustainable, revenue for these communities.
Mm-hmm.
But then I realized and looked at it deeper and was like, they grow coffee, but they don't really know what they're doing with it. There's no outlet. And still 15 something years later, there's a huge disconnect. Logistics, how we handle stuff, how we look at, how we value things. Everyone's trying to crush and squeeze the little person and try to like make the most value out of it at the back end.
Right, man. Like I agree with what you're feeling, the sentiments. Like, as a chef, it's so hard to get a hold of these ingredients, man. It's not impossible, but you have to really make a connection with the vendors. Okay, but for you, it's not really even the vendors. You're going one step deeper than that. You're going straight to the source, to the farmers, to the cultivationists, and all that kind of stuff, man. Like,
Yeah.
what made you decide to stop, literally just almost change careers, but from being a chef to now like some guy who's super in tune with his environment, like and all that stuff.
I mean, I think I always have been. I started cooking young, and it's a means to survive. It was a job to make money. Like I said, I was on my own. I needed to pay bills. I was sleeping on couches at a young age, like having no direction, and that kind of gave me a sense of community and a family. Like we all do. Working in the kitchen's like living on a pirate ship.
Dude.
We're just swinging. Everyone's got a little story. We're all.
It's like a warship sometimes,
yeah,
man.
Exactly. It's just a crazy place, but it brings us together. And I started young, so I started burning out young, and took this path and started staging in restaurants and traveling to Europe, and I spent a lot of time in Mexico as well. I grew up in a Mexican community in Colorado. Went to a bilingual school and started cooking like Mexican cuisine at a young age.
You were from the hood, from the start to finish, man. You were, dude. I cannot. I can't believe there is like, okay, in the States there's Mexicans everywhere, right? But in Boulder, Colorado, there's a huge Mexican community still.
Yeah, still. I mean, when this was 98, 99, it was still half of Boulder was Latino. And I grew up in that part. Damn, and then son. I watched it get, rolled over, and it's unique. I got blessed by growing up and experience and being immersed in different cultures.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like if you just hang out with just like the white boys, you're just like almost being monocultured. Like, you only see one side of the story, and most of Americans, they only know America, bro, because you guys are so. You guys are really like the superpower of the world, right? And like you're sandwiched between Mexico and Canada. Sometimes, like, pretty much.
It's unique. It's interesting, and like I said, it's a blessing for me because I grew up experiencing all this. I had some of my best friends growing up were Native American, Vietnamese.
That's dope, man.
A lot of Jamaican influence, lots of Latinos, El Salvadorians, Mexicans. Like, I just grew up like emerged in like I was almost always like the only white kid in the group.
That's cool, bro.
Hey,
that's really cool.
There's always like something about it, and I just grew up like that. And then living here so long, it's like I'm almost Thai. Like I'm a Thai Mexican, like that has like. Touched all sorts of different things in the world, so it's unique. Like we were just speaking on your experiences as well. Like it kind of to lose, to find your identity and like lose it within so many cultures, and then like rediscover it is like a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man, dude. This wine is great, dude. Too, man. Just gonna take it easy. Yesterday, my friend came for a podcast, man, and it's like he brought like 2 joints. Dude, I took like 2 like puffs, right? And like within 15 to 20 minutes, my brain started farting, man.
It's a different conversation. You needed to pull out the paint and start,
Dude, I was like, hold on a second. Yeah, I was like, hang on a second. I need to stop the podcast. Like, I need to hang out for a little bit, gather my thoughts, and like continue. Like, it's so weird. Like, cause the more you smoke, the more tolerance you build up.
Of course.
And he is at a level where he can function after a joint, or 2.
Yeah.
For me, I just wanna like. Go to the grass, man. Like literally just want to run out and just walk in the park. Like my mind was like wandering to like places already, like just after a couple of puffs.
Yeah,
I don't know if you smoke up, bro, but
it's human nature, I feel like we always get in this position where like if we build tolerance to anything, we can, we're conditioned, we can build tolerance to pain, alcohol, whatever it is. That's why chefs as well. And I think COVID woke a lot of us up and realized that, oh shit, this hurts. we
Yeah,
sacrifice everything. You know, we're in the
Yeah.
business of pleasure, and at the same time, like it's destructive, and
Yeah.
we have to find the balance, and people need to like respect it a different way, and you know,
Yeah, COVID has been, oh my God, it's affected the food industry so much, man. Like, okay, first of all, besides the obvious that, you know, we struggled, obviously we struggled with delivery and all that kind of stuff, but also with the workforce, man. There has been like an exodus of, you know, of front of house waiters, waitresses, chefs, who during their downtime when they were out of jobs, they literally just changed profession, and they realized how tough the F&B business was, and they just left, man. Right? You must have heard a lot of stories, like some guys just like left and never looked back.
sure. I mean, I was just in New York for 5 months last year, and working with a bunch of friends, and kind of like I did a stage at Crown Shy with James Kent, and then
James Ken was super cool, dude. His first name is Jamal, dude, and he's like
you can only call him Jamal if
if you're close to him, huh? You can
he's made that clear. He's like,
made
he doesn't have the Jamal pass. I'm like, okay, I get it. You know, I knew him from back in, you know, from Nomad, and like my boy Brian Lockwood I grew up with in Colorado was like running 11 Madison, and like so I'd always stop in New York for the last 15 years. New York's like my second home, or when I go back to the States, it's a place I feel most at home because of the cultural, you know, mashup and how things are formed there.
I love New York City, bro. You go to the Bronx, you go to Queens, people don't speak English in you know, some part of the Bronx, man. It's just like unreal. And you're in the middle of New York City. You're just 15 minutes train ride away from, like, I don't know, World Trade Center, or, you know, Times Square, or, you know, it's really, it's like
you can travel within it. You know, it's beautiful. You cruise through and hear the different languages. Like I was riding my bike all over the city. You know, when I was out there, and it was like you're flying by and hearing, like, you know, and Yoruba, African, West African dialects, and the next thing it's like French, and the next thing it's like Italian, and then you hear like various different dialogues of like dialects of Spanish, and you're just like, where am I? You know, I was up in Washington Heights, so I was staying like in between like Brooklyn, where my sister's at, and like, you know, downtown Fort Greene, and then up in like Washington, in the Heights, like 175 in Broadway, like Spanish Harlem, like
Washington
like,
Heights. Where is
Harlem.
that? Above Harlem.
Yeah, so 175, like Manhattan.
That's like the tip of the Manhattan, right? You're like the tip of the iceberg.
Culture, man. It's Puerto Rican, Dominican. It's little Dominican Republic up there, and it's like it makes me feel at home. You know, people out there selling like frutas on the corner and just like all sorts of different things. It's just like live music and, you know, samba and you know, salsa in the plazas. It was amazing.
Man, fruta. When you see like the vendors, right? They're selling the mango. The Mexican lady is selling the mango, almost like Thailand, with some seasoning salt, some special. Yeah, pica. They have pica in Mexico, like, as well, and like they do it. I'm like, wow, I'm really in, like, I'm deep, man. I'm deep into the hood right now. Like, it's just like,
I love it. I mean, I grew up with that. That was like my after school snack. You know, when I lived in the barrio in Boulder, like I go back to, like, we lived behind Kmart, and I was like some of the only white families in there. You know, in this little apartment, and every day I walk home and get some tajin and like different kinds of like tamarindos and, you know, little like coconut like popsicles and whatever it was. It was like that's my nostalgic like childhood food.
Oh man, wow. Have you always, like, so if you were always from the hood, right? I'm just wondering, like, if you are like in the hood and you're the only white kid there, like, do you feel like, really, you feel like a big part of the hood? And like, sorry, I think I'm gonna edit this part out, man. I'm just muttering, man.
No, it's good.
But let's go back to the stage with Jamal, because I've seen Jamal on Eater and Munchies and all that stuff, man, and it's he's a great chef, bro. Have you been in the same culinary school as him, or how do you get to meet him and anything like that? Were you from the same generations of chefs starting out?
He's like I said, my boy Brian Lockwood, he's kind of a big brother and mentor to me growing up, and I watched him, you know, some of the first fine dining experiences in like L'Atelier and you know, some of the restaurants he worked at in Boulder before he went to San Francisco and worked in all sorts of places. That was kind of the beginning of it for me, and then when I started going to New York later on, he moved there after he was at like French Laundry, El Celadec and Roca, and you know, moved to New York to like work at 11 Madison, and then he was at like the Nomad. And when I like hit him up like 6 years ago or 7 years ago, I was like, yo, I want to come stage. Like hook me up at 11 Madison. Let me do a stage there. Let me do a stage.
When
at
did you do
Nomad.
the stage again in 2000?
I'd have to look, but I
can't remember.
I think it was 6 years ago.
It was 6 years ago. Have they? Okay, that was before the renovations. You think?
Before the renovations at EMP?
Yeah, they had their big. Okay.
Yeah. So it was right before, about a year. It was right before they got like best restaurant as well. Like maybe like right around then. So maybe 5 years.
Interestingly, I was there for the stage as well. I did 1 day stage there, and like, oh my goodness, man, this is huge, bro. The kitchen is huge. The private dining room is huge. The normal dining room is like, I don't know, triple ceiling, like super, super high. And it was so tough, man. The kitchen is like, if you're not really in tune with it, it's gonna grind you out, man. It's crazy. At the end of the day, they asked me to make an omelet.
They always do.
Did they ask you to do that?
Yeah, I had to whip up an omelet too.
Dude, my God, I was so stressed out, man. Like, because you are like sandwiched between all these great chefs, you know, people who you look up to. Yeah. Brian Lockwood, he had like a lineup, you know, before service, and he was explaining and all this stuff, and it's just like, wow, it's really like they are really at the top of their game.
Yeah,
100%.
Brian's a samurai.
It's Brian, and then there was Dimitri, I think.
Yeah, Dimitri was there. Actually, Brian was at Nomad when I did like a week there, and then I did a couple days at EMP after. And when I was at EMP, I think Chris was the chef de cuisine, and Dimitri was under him at that point. So Brian just crossed over back, and then he ended up going back there. But it was like it was cool. I mean, and then the last time, like I said, I just went back to New York last summer. I was supposed to be gone 1 month. You know, I was like, all right, I'm gonna see how COVID goes. You know, I'm gonna get my business stabilized in Thailand as much as I possibly can. I'm not gonna try to bang my head on the wall, and I'm just gonna like go. And like, you know, it 1 month turned into almost 6. And next thing I knew, I did like, you know, a couple days at Nomad, and got to hang out with like James and them, and then check out like the pre-opening of Saga, and like got a little tour of what's going on up there.
Oh yeah, Saga is the new Crown Chai, right?
Above Crown Chai.
Above Crown Chai.
They got the whole building. There's Crown Chai on the ground floor, which is more of a
prep area.
No, it's the casual, like trying to, you know. Okay. It's a humble eatery, you know, but at the same time, it's a 1 Michelin star establishment that has amazing food and a beverage program. But the whole plan was always to, you know, they took the whole building, so they have the ground floor, and then, you know, 60 something floors is Saga, and then above that is Overstory, their cocktail bar where Harrison runs it, who was doing the cocktails at Nomad. And I mean, they just have like an amazing team, and it was part of the reason I wanted to go like stage and fuck with them in the first place. You know, I went there for that reason. I was like, I like the mentality. I like the visionary perspective of them, like trying to like set a new model of how the F&B world looks. And they proved it, because like, you know, you take care of your people, you invest into it, you run it a slightly different way, even though the industry is always going to be a beast until the clientele and the consumer, you know, until we bridge that gap and we get a mutual understanding across the board. It's always going to be a little different.
I worked 1 year in New York City, and I can tell you it's I think it's the toughest city I've ever worked in, bro. The kitchen is just like a beast, man. And especially with some like places like Crown Chai and Saga, the production must be insane, man. They have like a prep team, like 4 prep teams, and they have to do the crossover menus, and sometimes you have to prep for both restaurants.
It was insane.
It must have been insane. Did you try the chicken?
Oh yeah, always.
The chicken with the hot sauce.
I got to eat there when they first opened. You know, 3 something years ago. I went in for like, I was in New York for 4 days and just like hit up James. I always bring him, you know, presents of stuff from Thailand. You know, passion fruit honey, makwan, different like samun pai, like from the north. And
he must have loved it, man.
Yeah, I brought him like coffee blossom and some different Thai coffees, and then I had a good meal at Crown. Like, you know, I was like, when I come back next time, like, I'm going to hit you up. I want to do a little stage. Like, you know, I'm staging for the perspective and just like to get my hands dirty again, keep my knife sharp. And, you know, because I'm going to be doing something at some point. You know, people don't know, but I'm moving in silence anyway.
Yeah, it's cool to stage, like really is. Like it feels as if you are becoming a beginner again. You know, you're going and you're really getting stuck in, like, and like the experiences like really change you as a person. Because right now I'm the boss, right, at the restaurant. Literally, I'm just ordering people around, and I'm not really
Stay
getting my
humble.
hands that dirty. Yeah, exactly. So to go for a starch really would really humble me. Like just I would get shout at again.
Yep.
You know, you make mistakes and then you get the dirty look from like your sous chef. Like
You talk too much. Sit down.
yeah, man. Just,
I get it.
it'd be like, do not speak unless you're spoken to, like that kind of shit.
I mean, that's you know, it's
Sometimes.
good. You got to keep humble. I mean, that was the same reason I did the one at 11 Madison, and like I've staged at a bunch of other restaurants in the past, and just like I love popping into places and just get checked and get humbled. It's part of my forever.
It's
being
part
a
of your
student.
DNA, man.
Yeah, it's good though. But I mean, when I didn't expect to stay further like after like that 1 month, so I did a quick stage at Crown just to come say hi to the boys, and like I know a lot of them anyway, a lot of the crews from like, you know, background of like Nomad, and like so I already knew some of these guys, and it was just good to see familiar faces and catch up. And then like I extended my trip and I hit him back up and was like, yo, I'm gonna be in town for a bit longer, can I come do like a little bit more?
Right.
And they had a 200 person party in the Hamptons that Brian was running with James. So I went and like prepped and cooked and did a week with them for this, and it was like, it was madness in the middle of them getting ready to open Saga. You know, it was crazy. Like I was going in at 3-4 in the morning to get everything done, and I was
At the
there
Hamptons.
3-4 at Crown prepping.
At Crown.
So 3-4 in the morning prepping at Crown, finishing at 7 o'clock at night, and then the next day again, just like not sitting down, classic, you know, just keep going. And it was madness, like in the middle of them getting ready to prep and open Saga and Overstory. So it was like, you know, it was madness, but it felt good. Like the last day, I think I worked 20 something hours that day.
Do you work for free?
No.
I hope not.
I mean, honestly, like I didn't even ask questions because it's the crew, and like you know like my love and respect for Brian is somebody who's always like elevated me and given me so much love throughout the years. I was like, I'm here for it. And then later I was like, a paycheck was nice.
It's nice, yeah.
I haven't
like,
had a paycheck. I'm an entrepreneur who owns a social, you know, enterprise revolving around coffee and byproducts. You know, I was like, damn, I haven't had a check in 3 years.
But you know, it's not for you. It's definitely not about the money, man. Like from what I've heard, like you know, the way you spoke and the things you do with coffee and everything else. Like, it's such a huge passion project, you know. And you're the first guy to ever do it in Thailand. To really, for many people, coffee is just coffee. They don't. They have that glass of coffee. They get a bit psyched up. They go to work, and that's about it. Like they don't really know what goes behind the scene, and never really visited any farms, bro. I've never seen fresh coffee in my life.
You gotta
like
come
fresh,
check it out.
Like fresh berries. Where I mean, in Chiang Mai, or
we work with about 15 different farms across northern Thailand. So, and not just coffee, but like tea, cacao, whatever they have, we help them sell it. You know, and that's the thing. Like,
northern Thailand.
Like I said, it's a community-driven coffee, you know, brand. Like we're about highlighting them, or coffee, or farmer-driven. Like it's all about them. You know, I'm not the face of it. I'm not really a coffee guy, even though I learned how to roast and I learned the alchemy of processing and all the things that elevates and adds value to a product like wine.
Oh man, that is a disappointment, bro. I thought you were the coffee
guy. we gotta edit the intro. I gotta set the story straight.
Yeah. You're really a chef, bro. Because I've seen your CV, and there was nothing about being a barista or you know nothing like that. You were like the chef de cuisine, like of a big operation in country clubs, like you know big restaurants. And I'm like, whoa, Dustin's actually a chef.
Coffee's an ingredient, and wine actually led me to coffee. Being somebody who's interested in terroir.
Talking about wine, just pour yourself more. Help yourself, bro. Help yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Help yourself, yeah. And the daimasu was great, though, right?
Yeah. But you know, wine started it, man. It was for me like getting interested in being somebody who's so like, you know, so into products and terroir. And like I said, as a chef, I've always looked at ingredients as like, you know, we need to respect them, and it's like the backstory. You know, whoever's growing them, like, you know, giving credit. 10 years ago, it didn't exist, you know, and then chefs started coming out and being like, You know, there was very little of it, and then we started hearing more. You'd see names on menus, you'd see ingredients being highlighted based on like elevation, you know, soil content, like what water, like the water comes from here, it's washed through the amethyst crystal and filters through the, you know, the mouth of this, you know, sacred spring. You're like, what?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Whatever you're saying is like Blue Hill at Stone Barns, bro. Yeah, exactly. They have like a research lab like right in the middle of New York County, you know. And one time I was there, right? They served me like a course of carrots, like straight up carrot. One was pre-winter frost, and one was right after frost. And like there is actually a difference in the taste profile.
Yep. I mean, it's the science too, right? It's like the shock of the cold weather. It's like wine being late harvest, and you know, some of these like
it's
Eastern
almost
European, Austrian grapes that just like they let it get a little
get a little funky.
Yeah,
it was almost like the carrot was dry aged.
Exactly.
You know, and it's a really good story, man. Like and with waste, they do so much with waste. Like literally, it's a biodynamic system, like in Blue Hill at Stone Barns. Having said that, like Dan Barber, his episode on Netflix, dude, it was boring as fuck.
I mean, that's the thing. That's why we don't get to shine sometimes, because we be talking about the shit that ain't exciting. If I was doing backflips while I was popping bottles of champagne with a bunch of half-naked girls on TikTok, it'd be a different story. You know what I mean? It's like like that's why we just need to like everyone needs to like chill the fuck out and look at it for what it is. It's like, you know,
Dan Barber,
it's all smoke and mirrors anyway. So what's the science?
It's true. The science sometimes can really get you know, like the nitty gritties.
Yeah,
he went deep into it, man. Dan Barber.
Yeah. Have you read his book? Have you read The Third Plate?
No, I have not, man. How was that?
Yeah, you should.
It's a good read.
Good, yeah, it's a good read. I mean, it was one of the books that I started working. I'll give a shout out to Billy for this one, even the crazy Billy Marinelli. You know, yeah, the Oyster King.
The Oyster King.
So he's like, he started his first oyster hatchery off of Santa Monica or something in the early 80s, I believe, and was selling to Alice Waters, Wolfgang Puck, like all these like California chefs. Yeah. And he supplies like, you know, you might even use some of his seafood via Jagoda.
Jagoda, you know,
okay. He's also a partner in the sturgeon farm in Hua Hin. He has the caviar production going on down there. Like, he has a sustainable, like, you know, fishery in Bali. They have partnerships in Alaska, so a lot of the Alaskan king crab scallops you see come from him. All his oysters are now farmed in Washington.
Washington State,
so, yeah, it's all like it's cool, man. Like he's really on something else, and he's a wild one. But you know, 5-6 years ago when I was working with
pioneer.
Yeah, when I was working with Rimping Supermarket in Chiang Mai, I worked with them about 3 years. The original idea was to do something like I'm doing with coffee. It's like community-driven food products. So like helping people with logistics and adding value to products. So if you're growing chilies, we produce a hot sauce. We put it on the shelves, boom, you know, we automatically can sell it for tenfold. And then we're going to give back and developing these communities into making sure that it's sustainable for them. Otherwise, nobody wants to do anything. And that's why we're seeing, you know, this like destruction in our food system right now.
Yeah, it's like they need to make money too, man. Like everyone needs to make money. It's, you know, somebody has to be better off doing it, you know, and that's the thing. Like I hear a lot of people say like, oh man, local products can be expensive, you know, like some really, I would say very obscure, like a makwan can be pretty expensive compared to black pepper. Sure, but it's like it's so new. Like you need to support the farmers, right?
Yeah, it will grow up, and you know the how we value things is all messed up anyway. Nobody thinks about what goes into it. Everyone just looks at the price point, and we say, well, I could buy this coffee over here, and I was like, well, how's like slave labor taste?
Okay, yes,
you know,
yes,
like,
that's for real, man.
How's, you know, you enjoy the blood of it, like that's on you. Like when I choose to do stuff, like it's about telling the story, and that's like why I'm doing what I'm doing with coffee as well. It's like I said, you know, here, let me make you a cappuccino and let's talk about how fucked up everything is.
Yeah, I would like. I mean, if you talk to Vish about it, he's like you, man. He's so big on monoculture and like he's.
I mean, that's why we linked, man. We connected.
You guys really connect, man.
We're on some other shit as well. It's like, you know, and I've been on this. Like, I've been outcasted from the culinary world maybe 10 years ago in a sense because I was the guy like. What are you doing with that shit? Like,
Yeah,
you're just
man.
gonna throw that all away?
I'm sure you've been in restaurants where
Yeah.
you see the head chef just like throw out shitload of stuff. Like the yield is like terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I started hustling at a young age to make money so I could either stage, so I didn't have to, rely on that as an income, or
Right.
just experience by eating. So actually,
My friend, you achieved that and much more, bro. Like you're living the life, bro.
Yeah.
Like you're really like hitting your goals, man.
I'm trying. It's been it's a journey, man. Like it's been tough. Like I said, I don't have much support, and I've just been grinding it out. Like
You're like
financially,
yeah.
it's been like doing shit that doesn't make money, but I know it's right. It's the long term.
It's the long term,
it's the
yeah.
long game, and I'm happy that I feel I can taste a little bit of it right now, but like I'm hungry, man, and I'm ready for like. I'm ready for the power and the position to just let people know.
It's the vision. It's the vision, Dustin. You have the vision, bro. Like it's not about instant gratification. It's about what you do to the community, and then you just see happy farmers. Like you go to Chiang Mai, you see like they are growing like high quality stuff.
Yeah.
Not monocultured, like organic, totally natural. And then you see also the back end of it, where like the customers are drinking the coffee, and there's like a huge interest coming up in everywhere with all these products, all like the good ones.
Yeah, I mean it's a beautiful thing too. So it's good
good
to
ones.
see people changing, and like I always predicted this. Like I've been talking about it for the last 10 years. I'm like, something's about to happen. Wait for it.
Yeah.
How's it gonna go down? Like how people gonna start to like wake up and be like, oh shit, this has impact, or this is directly connected to humans. Like how do we translate that? And like COVID did it. We didn't realize that, but like I thought it was gonna be maybe a war, maybe like various things that like
a war in a supermarket.
I mean, over toilet paper. I was like, yo, we in Thailand, like, dude, we use water. My G, you crazy?
We use leaves over here, man.
It's like no toilet paper, no problem. But like for real, like COVID woke us all up and made us all look a little internal and look at our neighbors, and like it locked Thailand down. And we talk about having labor shortages and all this shit. Like let's talk about how the government approaches stuff here, and let's talk like, or maybe let's not talk about it. But
man, it's all good. The government.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's one of those things. Like we made our own grave. And Thailand's been like this forever. We don't really we put people on pedestals. We don't educate or invest in our community, and that's why we're left with what we're left with.
Yeah.
And all these people complaining, oh well, these Thai people can't. I'm like, yo, you got a maid trying to clean tile. You go to her house, she doesn't have tile. How do you expect her to know how to clean tile? It's like you gotta we gotta build it up, man. It's part of the game.
Yeah, Thailand has been the status quo has been like the same, and the streets are still like the green. Where are the green space? They've been talking about green space for forever.
Yeah. How about they regulate the buses? How about they think
Yeah.
about tuk-tuks, emissions? How about they consider like, pivoting on a bunch of shit? And if it wasn't greed driven, it'd be a whole nother story.
Yeah, dude.
It's like we're left with what we're left with, man. It's sad, and like at the same time, as a foreigner who's been, I've owned my company here for over 10 years now, running it independently by myself, and like I get treated like I'm still a tourist fresh off the boat. Immigration everywhere I go, and we wonder why people are leaving left and right. And COVID made that super clear. We don't want you here. We're happy for everyone to leave, and we're gonna put a new incentive in place. The same way they did 7-8 years ago when everything changed here. Like, all these things have like flipped the script on it, and it's really not like we're not in a good position, and like nobody wants to come back now because we're all like, yo, that was toxic. I don't like toxic relationships. Like I don't need to keep being rolled out and thrown under the bus for no reason. Like you want me here, you want to open an Italian restaurant, make it easy for Italians to come here. You want wine bars, like yo, get some Psalms over here, make it easy. Like screen people. Don't just look at the money.
Yeah.
Now they're just like, oh, you're a criminal. You're an old dude who doesn't care about shit. Like, come on in, spend your money. Oh, you're a young professional with like fucking knowledge, background, and things to offer the country.
Get them a visa,
I mean,
make everything easy. Everything is hard to do here, man. Everything is like the red tape, endless red tapes, endless procedures.
Yeah, tax it, make it unapproachable, make it only for the wealthy. It's like it's a huge gap, man.
Dude, I've seen the stats, man. The disparity between the poor and the rich. Thailand is like it was number one. Okay, it's some crazy stat, right? I can't verify it because I'm not a professor or anything like that. But to be number one on any list, it's there's no smoke without fire. It's right up there, man. We are right up there, man. We were like Africa here, right here.
I mean, we number one on all sorts of lists that ain't good, man. It's not good, and lucky we have so many great people here and talented who are pushing for it. But like that's our responsibility. People with voice and people with power. It's like step the fuck up and let's do something. Otherwise, you're gonna be left sitting here making your own fucking sandwiches. And like, how you feel about that?
Yeah, it's like,
and like there's nothing wrong with I'm always the guy like, let me help you sweep that up. Like my background gives me that humble like, I want to get my hands dirty. Let me help you out. Let me carry something. Like I don't want to be like, I'm not. I don't want to be in that position of like bossing people around. For me, it's an even playing field, and like we need to start treating it like that. Otherwise, we're gonna get left with it. And Thailand has so much potential. Even how they treated alcohol bans, and like 15 years ago, maybe the main attraction here was food. Street food, these various things, and that's cool. Like it popped off. People came here to eat. People came here for beaches. People came here because it's cheap. Whatever reason they came here for, and it's like over the last 5-something years, when people started like Thailand started rising, we had a position to change our minds and figure out what the next move is.
Correct.
It's like, and what did we do? The government just locked it down harder. They like, canceling restaurants, closing left and right. Like we're crushing it in Asia when it comes to bars, fine dining, all these things. It's
the
like
top 100 list, everything, we're up there.
We'd be doing a lot better if our hands weren't tied behind our backs.
That's so true, man. Like tourism is such a big thing here, but like the government hasn't done anything about it. They just rest on their laurels. Like the beaches are gonna be clean, or they're just gonna be. They're gonna be they have the assumption that they don't have to do anything about it, man. Everything is gonna stay the way it is. No one's gonna do a damn thing about it.
And we're like, just stop talking, dude. Do something.
Yeah, exactly.
Show me with your actions, man. Like, we sick of this shit. Is this kindergarten, man? Like, you gotta put these guys in timeout.
Yeah, no one's gonna do a damn thing about it. You want to complain? Yeah, sure. Like, but we're not gonna do a damn thing about it either.
I mean, something's happening, man. We're on a horizon. Like, I think there's a tipping point here coming soon, and like I'm excited just to see what the fuck happens. And,
with this election, it's like I already know who I'm voting for. I'm voting for the young generations to come in and bring a change to this country.
Need it, man. These kids out here are sharp.
Yeah, they are sharp. They've been like, they're well educated, aware of what needs to be changed.
Exactly.
But we have dinosaurs, bro.
Yeah,
we have dinosaurs in this country.
I mean, for real though. It's just I know 18-year-olds here who could run the country better. I'm just like, yo, can I just vote for this kid over here slanging fucking tum-tum? Like, let's go. No,
and the kids who actually had the balls, man, the iron balls to protest. And they're out there. Like, I'm not saying what they're doing is right or wrong, but like to have that kind of like perseverance, that kind of persistence, to really fight for what he believes for or she believes in. And man, that's so refreshing to see in this community, like someone who's actually standing up, being accounted for, and speaking their mind, speaking what they really feel, right, wrong, whatever. It's time for people to actually say what they see.
Totally. And I mean, it's different too. It's a different perspective. We got to empathize and like have a little bit of compassion for what's going on, because people want to judge and they're like, these kids out here causing trouble. I was like, yo, we in the hood, like we don't give a fuck. Remind them, like it's the same shit in the States, everywhere in the world. We see people like, speaking out, and half the time it's like, dude, I wish I had a fuck to give, because I don't. And like, you think I care about breaking shit or wilding out in the street? It's like,
nah, you do bad.
Nah. And then other people are like, why are they breaking their own country? I was like, because I ain't got food to eat, and like I can't pay my bills, and like nobody gives a fuck. And people with power and voice ain't stepping up and being like, let me help you out, man.
Right. No.
Like some of us are, right? Don't get it wrong. And I'm, I wish I was in a position too, because I just came to a point in life recently where I'm like, all right, it's time to get this fucking money so
Yeah,
I can
get
make
the
some
money.
shit happen. Because I'm gonna put it in the right place.
Yeah, man. We need more people like you in this country. I swear to God, bro. Just like someone with fresh perspective, someone from a different culture, just to come in and just reevaluate of what is going right and what is going wrong in this country. It's always the same
Yeah.
people doing
I know.
the same
it's
old
the
job.
same thing in the U.S. and in defense of Thailand. It's the same all over. We're the whole world's run by dinosaurs. It's run by men with the wrong backgrounds. It's like here. It's like, wait, who's running the country? A bunch of old men who have military training. It's like, that's crazy.
No, old men who are like right at at retirement age.
Yeah.
Like who's
Like, go golf, bro.
Biden,
Learn how to fucking surf or something, man. Like, it ain't too late.
right?
Like, you don't need to be out here fucking ruining all our fun, man. We actually trying to do good shit.
Right.
We're at the generation where shit's hitting different right now too, and that's why I always for me it's all about the youth. And I was in that position, and I had the elders step up to me and be like, here's a podium, do something with it.
Use it.
And we started, now we're in the position, and it's funny because I've been talking about this with various friends over the last years. Like, we're at that transitional, period where the older generation's passing torches.
Yeah, we are right at that place. We are right there, man.
Yeah.
And that's why the protest is going on. Everything is going on. We are at that very precarious situation where the changeover is coming, but you don't know when, but it's coming. You don't know when, but
Well, we can't be lied to anymore too, man. It's all on TV.
yeah, it's all on social media. Fake news, man.
Back in the day, they said the revolution won't be televised. It's like, now it's on Twitter, now it's on TikTok, now it's on everywhere. You can't escape it. Like, I hope you have a strong enough will to or mind to get through it and not let it depress you. But shit's real out there, and we can't face. We got to face the facts, and use ourselves as examples, or use our stories as examples. I talk openly about my shit because it's like I've already been through it. And at this point, it's clear it and use it as an example. Big up the youth. I started skateboarding again. I was skating when I was a kid, and I started skating during COVID. I go to Kong Tui, Sapankyo, the green bridge over there, and I always I support the kids.
You're in that underground culture, bro.
I bought a skateboard for the youth over there, and I kind of leave it at the shop, and they can rock it. All the little kids know my name, and I rap with them occasionally, and just give them a little keep pushing, man. It's not easy, and you're in a hard place here, but
Klong Tui is a hard place, man. It's Have you been? I know you've been to Klong Tui market. You've been there 1,000 times, but oh my god, people are hustling like hell over there. I've been there at about 2 a.m. when the market opens, and damn, bro, the whole city is just sleeping, and the market is bustling. People busting their balls, man, just for sustenance.
Yeah, if you're from the hood, man,
it's a normal thing to see, huh?
It's a different, you're a different beast, man. You're conditioned into just
immigrant mentality. Yeah. There's a lot of things with the States, immigrant mentality, and then you are super strong, you're super rough.
Yeah.
Nothing affects you, nothing gets to you, man. Nothing gets to you.
It does eventually, because we're human. And that's
True.
the hardest part is we grind hard, and then we realize how fucked up we are because all we did was do anything to survive. And if we ever do make it, which a lot of us don't, we step up and we're shit, I can't even accept the fact that I've half made it. I'm I can't. Sometimes I'm just nah, whatever, and just send me back to the hood. And I was back in New York, hanging with all my friends there, and it's beautiful. My sister was giving me shit about oh, Brooklyn's not hood enough for you now.
Brooklyn,
you got to go up to the Heights. You're in Harlem. You're in the Bronx all the time. I was I'm sorry, but it's where home is. If you don't sell Lucy cigarettes on the corner, I don't really smoke anymore. But if you don't sell Lucy's, then that means your gentrified neighborhood is no longer where I want to be at.
Yes.
If I see old people pushing, dogs in carts and in their little strollers, when you see in the hood, mama carrying 3 kids at the same time. I was your dog got a stroller, but mom with 3 kids can't get half of one.
Yeah, dude, that's Brooklyn for you right now, man. It's fully gentrified.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, you just got to go deeper and not to put that on a pedestal as well. But like, if you want to see real people, it's like, you know,
That's where it's at.
Where it's at. And like, you know, that's what I like, is just like down to earth, humbled like people. So I just have nothing to relate to a lot of the other ones. So it makes it like, you know, I'm like, what are we talking about? Like,
yeah, man. Yeah, we are living in a really privileged space, man. Wait, what time you gotta go?
No, I'm good, man. We got time.
You got time?
Yeah,
okay, just let me know when you gotta go. And
no, I'm good actually. I'm gonna go to a little thing after this and do some work and meet up with a friend.
Yeah, friend.
I'm good.
Go
I'm
lunch.
like, I'm half on vacation, bro. Like,
yeah, man. It's Songkran, bro. There is but I'm hustling as well during Songkran. Like the restaurants are open and it's packed. It's weird that it's packed. I didn't expect it to be this packed. I just thought, okay, this is only our second year opening, so say let's see. You know, I just thought, okay, we stay open and then let's see what we get. And I mean, the restaurants in the city is really booked up right now, and it's great to see. You know,
it's good, man. People coming back out. Like, I think people are kind of over it, and we
we
want to celebrate a little bit of life, and everyone's a little traumatized from this whole experience, and we're like, let's have some fun, man. Like, let's like.
I'm glad you traveled, dude, because I've not traveled for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And man, it's like, it's eating into me, you know. I just need to see something else. I just need like a new scenery, like, you know, to see like different people, you know, like different people, go to different places. It makes me want to go on an adventure. I talked with another guy. I'm like, I want to go as far as like traveling will take me. I want to take like 5 flights to get to this one place and like
hop a train,
hop on a train, bus, on a boat, on a bus. No, man, go on a camel back or something. You know, that like I was like, I want to go to places like Machu Picchu, like go far, man, like as far. Just
I love Machu Picchu.
You've been to Machu Picchu.
Peru's a crazy place. It's one of my favorite, honestly.
Really,
the history, the ingredients, the backstory, the culture. Like it's got, you know,
it's got good ceviches.
Really, like what I've been into and why I kind of backed out of the culinary world from like cooking to like learning about food, ingredients, and social projects, regenerative agriculture, like all these things. Like, you know, I started traveling young. You know, like as soon as I made money and as soon as I was liberated from like the system of the U.S., like I was like, all right, I'm moving. Like I'm gonna keep pushing. I gotta go. And like I started traveling. Like, you know, 18, I went to Europe alone for the first time.
You must have
moved out here.
Yeah, you must have gone to every country in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, I've been all over at this point, and then I started realizing my interest in food traveling was like people. So it's like anthropology, right? And then I was like, all right, you know what I'm gonna start doing is like culinary anthropology.
Man, you're like Bourdain, bro.
I mean, that's like back in the day, people were like young Bourdain, and like, you know, I was like, but I want to give voice to people. So like my whole thing was like, let's explore, but let's like value and put people in the place. Not to say he didn't, but like it was very much a different generation, and it was his time to like, it was about him as a character and somebody who's genuine and unique. So it was like,
yeah, man, I love Bourdain, man. Just like he didn't get to where he got to like at the start. He was just a chef who just went to country looking for things to eat.
Yeah.
But then he realized, you know, further down the line that there's much more than that. Like it's not just food, doesn't just come from food. It comes from actual people.
Yeah.
Actual people making it, the community behind it, the culture behind it, and all that stuff, man. It's just.
Did you watch his movie yet? His documentary?
Not yet. Is it?
Yeah, it was good, man. It was good. I mean, there's a lot of shit that obviously mixed feelings, but you got to take everything for what it's worth, right?
Yeah, you
I got to watch it in Brooklyn at like downtown at the old cinema, like, you know, in Fort Greene. I was like, it was a cool experience to see, and you know, he was a legend, man. I've read a bunch of his books, and like, you know, I can relate to a lot of his story growing up in a crazy world, and like, you know, he had problems, man. Like, you know, some really of the realest people are like, you know, if you dig deep, they're like, you know, we're fucked up.
Yeah, he said like he said that everybody in the kitchen is like one place or another. Like they are like we are like we can't He almost said that we can't function in a normal world, and we had to go to the kitchen, and that's where we feel normal.
Yeah.
In a place of chaos.
That's that pirate ship shit, you know. It's like
the
fact that like we didn't feel at home anywhere else. So like you know, you step into a place that's chaotic, and everyone else has the same story, and next thing you're kin.
Yeah, next thing you know, you're like at home.
Yeah.
Controlled chaos.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, I totally relate to it. It's a great experience, and it's awesome that like we have this, and like, you know, as much as I want to get back into like some more culinary stuff that's educational, like helping, you know, giving platform to kids and youth, and helping like programs to like train people up who need something. Because I remember finding the kitchen for me was like, man, like I was like, give me shit to do. Let me get my hands on
exactly.
something that's not
how
gonna
I
get me
feel.
in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Just let me zero in on something.
Yeah.
Something, you know, it doesn't matter. It could be like a meager task, like picking herbs.
It's mindfulness, man. It's meditation. And
it really is.
It's like, I didn't realize that we were like, you know, at young ages we were already like treating our traumas with like things that were edible. I was like rolling pasta. People were like, what are you doing? I was like, I can't afford therapy, bitch. Leave me alone.
Dude, you had me at edibles. I was like, I wasn't thinking pasta, but like,
calm down. We're not gonna blast you out this time, man. Let's just go with the vino.
Yeah, man. The vino really is like, I'm a vino guy too, man. It's just
yeah. Well, I can tell by your food, man. Like, you know, I've only got to eat once, but I understand your balance and your food approach is like chefs who like wine. It's like, you know, it's like fitness, man. You want to take your palate to the gym, open a bottle of wine and like, you know, examine it and let it develop and look at the body, look at the viscosity, look at the, you know, try to analyze it. Like, this is like how you train your palate.
Yeah, man. There's a living thing as well with wine, dude. Like the moment you open it, it's already changing. The change is starting. The metamorphosis, I almost call it. Like, it's almost like giving birth to somebody once you open a wine. You know,
I mean, that's why coffee is cool too, and that's why like I resonated with it right away, and then I saw the platform, and it took me years to like figure out what exactly I wanted to do with it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna step back from cooking a bit. Like, I'm burnt out. Like, I need to do something.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
Coffee is dope. Like, it's something different, and like, it's like wine.
I've never really had good coffee, Joe. So I mean, one day I just got to visit one of your joints. Really to have some good coffee. Because for me, like
what is the range one right over here? Like, I just did one the other day at Cat Coco. Like,
what?
At Cat Coco, the new shop.
Cat Coco, right here.
Yeah,
so
they have
got your beans and all that stuff. They got 3
of my single origins right now, and we'll probably rotate it out on the regular and do some different stuff. But it's like, man, we got crazy coffees, and it's like wine. You know, we got malolactic fermentation.
Exactly.
Got, you know, I think I gave you some as well, like a Grand Cru that uses a, you know, malolactic. It gives it that buttery, like lower acidity kind of smoothness to it. Like, we're fermenting with fruits. Like, one of my farmers, Chung Pao, he uses like anything. Like, he does crazy stuff, man. He uses like passion fruit that is damaged, that the farmers can't sell to like people like Royal Project.
Right.
And he'll buy all the damaged, like not visually attractive like product.
All right.
And he's gonna like throw that into the mash, into the ferment, and do like an anaerobic ferment with the coffee. And it like automatically like takes care of the problem of waste.
Okay.
It takes care of the problem of the farmers thinking that they can't get their money for something that's like not perfect.
Right.
Which is a big problem in the world, right? It's like, oh, that's just not perfect. That tomato's not perfectly round.
Yes.
And
there's a blemish there.
I was like, you didn't even try it. Like, you know, give it a, you know, slice it off, give it a bite.
Yeah, what you're saying, like the mashed up of the passion fruit with the coffee reminds me of kombucha, man.
Yeah.
I think coffee kombucha is gonna be a big thing, man. That, you know, with you can just fill in like.
We're working on some too with some people, so
I know you have it in your pipeline for sure, man.
We got canned products coming out. We're getting ready to enter the U.S. market with like sustainable, like these drip bags and compostable packaging.
You've gone full circle, man. You came here, and now you're going back to the States as well.
We got to take it to places that are slightly in a different position, right? So I think Thailand's hard, like pushing Thai coffee in Thailand's like.
We are a little behind the rest of the world.
It's not easy, man. It's not easy here. And that's a big part, like you said, too. People are like, well, I can buy this coffee for this much. I was like, whoa, you know.
It's not the same, man.
Well, then you got to, like, realize what you're buying. Yeah. Like, at the same time, like, our shit's priced at a certain point because of what we do. You know, we screen stuff. We make sure that the people we're buying from are giving back, and they're actually purchasing the cherry at the right price. They're you know, not damaging the ecosystem and the biodiversity. Like, we got to check all these things. And it's like, to eat right, to consume right and responsibly, it's not cheap.
It's like, not cheap. No, it's like eating healthy.
Well, that's why we live in a world where like we're eating synthetic shit, and people are like putting truffle on everything, and it's like off season. Like, everything needs to be like the same thing.
Available year round.
I'm like, dude, do something else, man. Like, you know, who's using like the stuff I like to cook with? Like, when I was working with Billy, it was like, you know, sturgeon meat.
Billy Smokehouse.
Pearl. No, not. I love Billy too, but Billy the oyster dude. So
Okay.
Like we're using like bycatch. I'm using like, you know, plankton, and we're using like, you know, pearl meat that they harvest, and it's like almost inedible, but you like
Pearl meat.
Yeah, like it looks like big scallops. It's tough. We you know, you can dry age it, you can braise it, you can do all sorts of stuff with it. We're using like different varietals of salmon, like Kita salmon, that isn't beautiful. Like it's based strictly on diet, and they sometimes eat plankton. They sometimes eat like various things that can make the flesh gray. It could make this, that. Like the farm raised salmon, if we took away, you know, if we took away the chemicals and the coloring that they added to it, you're eating just like, you know, smoke gray flesh. Like there's nothing to it.
Yeah,
I could
know.
put like some
I've heard
food
about
coloring
that.
on it. Like let's make lox with it. Let's get creative. Like
Yeah.
the flavor's good. The
Right.
vitamins and nutrients are there. Like
Right.
what's the problem? You're too scared to like drop it in some beet juice and make some gravlax. You're too scared to like
Yeah, man.
smoke it and throw it in some creme fraiche and put it on top of something. Like, you know, get creative. This shit's good. The product, the price is right. Like, you know.
Man, the thing with like commercial stuff is that they make it so attractive. Once you're on it, you're almost like you're almost hooked to it. The salmon, the farm salmon. I mean, there's so much chemical in that whole fishery. You know, they put colorings in the meat, like you said, make it look tasty, make it look plump.
Yeah.
Everything is all right, but like I've seen like documentaries where like there's a lot of death, like salmon, like when disease spread in the
Oh, it's
pool.
so bad.
Oh my God, it spreads to the entire population,
Yeah.
and man, and I'm sure you've seen pictures of it.
It's horrible, man.
It's
I
not
mean,
pretty.
I never really like. I already had insight, but like when I started working with Billy like 5-6 years ago, like his arch enemies farm salmon, and like some of these other things too. And people are like, all right, you know,
Norwegian.
in whoever's defense, like there's also farm salmon that could also be done responsibly, maybe in a certain sense, but like. The problem is making everything accessible year round. The problem is making everything like, you know, like we shouldn't be able to eat huge plates of raw, like of salmon that we don't even know where it's from. And we don't even
Right.
know what's going to happen. Like we're talking 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. And people are like, yo, my kid came out with like 4 eyes and like
The
all
side
sorts of
effects
crazy
and all
shit.
that
Like
stuff.
we think it's cool now, but like we don't really know what's going to happen.
Yeah, man.
It's like, you know, we didn't have cancer 50 years ago, you know?
Now we
300 years ago, we didn't, you know, maybe not 50, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe 300 years ago, we didn't even have, you look back at like, you know, like language, right? And we look back, we didn't used to have different words even for food and medicine. They were almost the same thing.
They were like intertwined, you know. They
mean,
were the
they
same.
are,
Yeah, right.
you know.
Medicine, food is medicine, and
Yeah,
all that stuff in the wild.
One of my good friends in the U.S., you know, one of my brothers, we've been working on projects called like Food is Medicine and Liberation of Food. So this is something when I was just out there, we were in San Francisco, we were in the Bay, we were like, you know, working with all these different like activists and people who want to like support this and be like, yo, we need to educate and we need to talk about it because like, you know, we are what we eat and people
Really?
are consuming crazy shit right now and they don't even know. And it's the
Really, man.
responsibility of the government. Like we need to hold people accountable. It's like we
It
need
needs to
hold
be taught in schools. It has to be in schools. It has to be brought up with the curriculum, you know, starting from a young age. It
Yeah.
needs to be indoctrinated
Yep.
into the young, you know. It's like
But why isn't it?
I
Money.
obvious yeah, 100%. They've
And,
been
and it's like we're
lobbied.
we're lied to, man. We're all pushed under the water and been like, all right, you don't have a voice. You know, these people are paying these people to let the government, you know, fuck us.
Yeah, they brought me, you know, this guy, he sponsored my election, blah 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 blah, and all that stuff, man.
Let me give you a couple crates of this, and like we'll send you, you know. Have you read Bourdain's Nasty Bits, the Nasty Bits book?
No, man, I'm
You
done.
gotta read that.
Oh my
You gotta
god.
read that because that's like one that he goes into all these little details and he talks about like, you know, pushing, you know, he compares, you know, fast food to pushing crack in the hood. And he goes on this whole shit and interviews these guys like back in like the 90s or something and saying like, you know, these guys were like
Like I
would
said,
you ever live next to one of your locations? And he's like, fuck no.
yeah,
You
dude.
know, why do they put everything in the hood anyway? Why are fast food restaurants? Why is all this shit pushed in places that people don't have education, money, or resources, or even options? You know,
pushing the agenda.
that's criminal, man. These are the biggest drug lords, man. These are like the modern day Pablo Escobars and people who are like the cocaine cowboys.
Cocaine
now,
cowboys.
bro. Like,
Matthew McConaughey, man,
bro,
is like crushing it.
This shit's crazy, and like, you know, I got a lot of shit to talk about that, but it's
Yeah, dude. Oh man. Here we go.
just starting to open up too.
Yeah. In the bottle.
Sexy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
man. Well,
wow, man. Like I know, like, cause you read a lot of books. I see from your stories, you read a lot of books. You are like well up to date with a lot of stuff. Like I'm just thankful that today you like gave me a couple of books. You know, it's just even if it's just about Bourdain, you know, it's
anytime,
like
man, I'll send you some that I got
super
at the
cool.
house. And come by mine sometime, man. I live in the hood.
Yeah.
Still forever. And
But
it's
not
good.
not in Jaran Nakon. That's the roastery. Where do you
there
live?
as well?
You live there as well.
Like
It's-
I said, I originally moved down from the north to like, I was like, all right, if I got to push this agenda and my coffee brands about this movement, I need to be in front of people. You know, I have a lot of clients, like even back then we started like, you know, distributing to like the Normandy and Paste. Even when I was based in Chiang Mai, like we started to like work with like Rocket and some of these different groups. And it was like,
Right.
you know, it made sense. And then I had to like make this move down here. Like I didn't like the north was good. It was good for my soul at the time, but like I needed people energy anyway. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna move down here, establish myself, like get a spot.
Came
And
to the right place.
Yeah, I'm gonna live on like, you know, live in my, you know, establish my roastery because
Right.
it's like down 2 stories of work, you know, upper stories of personal.
All of a sudden, I just realized when I go to Roots roast coffee shop, you
Yeah.
know, so they have Chang Pao. That's your Chang Pao. That's
Yeah,
your guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same.
Amazing.
We work with a lot of the same farmers and
Amazing, man. Amazing coffee. Like, you know, places
Yeah.
like Roots. Shout out to Caro as well, man.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
one of the best guys, man. He just moved to a new space.
oh yeah, cool. I gotta see him, man. We've
Yeah.
chatted a bunch, but we never had a chance to link.
So, yeah, he's got like, oh man, the nicest banana bread. Like he's doing like this full breakfast thing right now, and
Cool,
it's
cool.
like, it's good to
I
see,
he
man.
likes
It's
the
good.
hot dogs too, man. He's out here.
Yeah, he's a hot
out
dog.
here
He used to
repping hot
send me
dog.
the hot dogs, man. It's like, ooh, so damn good.
Nice.
And like the coffee places, you know, people should just go to these places.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the independent, almost mom and pops. Not really, but
Sure.
but you know, I mean, going to Starbucks is like,
Yeah, we definitely shouldn't be doing that.
Starbucks is only good for frappuccino, my friend, or something. You know,
Yeah.
for real coffee, like people just don't really go to Starbucks, right?
I mean,
it's tough to say. It's tough to say.
They're trying to pivot, and you know, everyone's desperate to follow what's happening. I mean, it's a movement now. Like we're at a different place where people are like, you know, the people who've been genuinely into it. You know, I don't want to name names and talk about even
Of
coffee
course.
brands who
Of
do
course.
shit like that
Of
too.
course,
but it's
of
like,
course, yeah.
You know, 5-6 years ago, it wasn't cool to do what I'm doing, but I was still repping it.
Yeah, you still
You know,
doing it
because I believed in it. And it's like, and then as soon as the trend started coming, people catching up and they're like, let me jump on that wagon too. And I'm like, jump on it. But like, you know, at the end of the day, the truth will shine. And like, you know, it's about like genuinely being into it. And now everyone's rebranding, everyone's sustainable, everyone's this, but the back,
yeah,
the
fair
background,
trade, all
yeah.
that stuff.
I mean, for me, it's a positive trend.
okay.
It's like yoga. You know, people want to like eat plant-based sometimes. Besides
Right.
the processed shit, like go eat some real shit. Don't eat the processed shit, but like plant-based yoga, it's better than, you know, doing methamphetamines and like,
Right.
you know, drinking all
Right.
night at the club. Like,
Right,
if that's
right.
a positive trend now, then like go on.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's still a trend. Like the
Yeah.
thing with fair trade, it's not 100% transparent.
Yeah.
There's still some slave labor going on the back end. Who knows, whatever. But like, it's moving in the right direction. You
That's
know,
why
especially in the
everything's
States.
rebranded. We keep rebranding everything. It's like fair trade, direct trade,
Yeah,
social trade, like
all these new
social
organizations
impact
popping up.
Business. We're like, it's like just like show me. Can I interview you real quick? And like we need like, you know, somebody who just grills people and make sure they know what the fuck they're talking about. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
dude.
can you be held accountable? You want to be a
Mhm.
sustainable clothing brand? Like let's make it transparent, and that's why
Yeah.
we're getting tech involved now. You know, we're getting, you know, look at the agricultural industry of like how we're tracing stuff. You know, traceability, putting barcodes on stuff that tells you
Yeah.
exactly where it's grown, the soil, the
My-
people. You know, there's ways of fucking with that too, but like at least we're
My Dover Soul
Yeah.
at the restaurant has a
QR code?
Has a QR code.
I mean,
I'm like, okay. I mean, I can't get to it. It's probably some special QR code, you know. But it has a QR code.
Yeah.
It says come from Bay of Biscay.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's traceability.
Yeah.
It's a big thing, man. The traceability thing is like a huge trend, man. You need to know where your products come from, and
of course, and that's why I see what you're doing as well. Like, you're obviously somebody who looks at that, and I don't think a lot of people respect it still. But like, your food's dope. You know,
thank you
it's
very much, man. Thank you.
For real. Like, I just talked to some
man.
people last week. I forget, like, a couple of, like, some of my favorite chefs in the city. I won't name names, but we were talking about it too. Like, yo, you've been to, and I was like, yeah, like once, and it's like dope. And they're like,
come again, Joe. Come again. Just come and sit at the bar, and we can hang out again. You know, just it's cool.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
I really want to go to Madmijke right now, like just to go see Thomas. Like it's been a while, you know, just go see the boys.
I need to, man. I've been hanging out with him a bunch, actually.
Yeah, he just opened a burger shop at Saladang.
Yeah, with the whole crew, man. They got a little crew going on.
Damn, son, it's like right next to my favorite Italian restaurant, Sanotti.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah.
They're like right there, man. Like it's like they're in like the market, I think, the market area, which is really cool. They're not in like common.
Yeah.
You know, they're not in like the safe like the so-called like safe calls. You know, they're like in a really, I don't know, it's just cool to see. It's just refreshing to see, you know, because everyone say, oh, we want to be in the common, I want to be in shopping malls. This is like a really cool standalone spot, I think, for me.
That's dope. I need to go see him too. Like, I'm gonna be doing some more cooking here in the future. Like, I just got to do a couple things.
Do a pop-up at Madmijke, come pop up at ours.
I'm down, man. I mean, we just did one. I just talked to them about doing one at Madmijke. Because my boy in New York, he's a musician and somebody I've worked with closely over the years, like one of my best friends since I was 12. And he's been in music, went to, New School.
Okay.
He was part of the Kanye documentary. He did the music on that. He did, like, he just did some stuff with, like, Kimani Marley. He's worked with DJ Premier. He's worked with, like, all these guys. And, like, he's coming out here next month, hopefully. And we're doing something we've been working on for years now, maybe 9 years, is pairing food and music.
That's the next frontier, bro, my friend.
I mean, we've done a couple events in like Harlem and like different spots where he sends me a track. We translate the emotions into food and we throw it down.
That's what Nick has been doing with the Naturalista. He's been doing the the music pairing with the wines and all that stuff. Like,
man, I need to hit him too, because we're gonna get something going like when he comes out here. Like, I want to do the food, music, wine as a trio instead of just doing matching them all, because you can if you dive deep enough. It's interesting.
Gotta hit me up, man. I'll definitely be there.
We will, man. I think
some more.
Recently, I did that event with Kim from Wine Garage.
Okay, which one?
At Gayson,
yeah, the training. Yeah. I sent one of my manager there.
Cool.
And then he's leaving this month. I'm like, dude, I mean, I could have just gone, I could have just been me.
I mean, it was kind of like last minute. We didn't really promote, but it was really cool because the whole idea was
you did the coffee pairing?
No. No? Nothing to do with coffee, actually, but it was about, I did the unique and complex pairings for the wines. So it was about flavor aromatic compounds that are found in food that are identically found in wine.
Okay.
So like the first one was like a lychee and
Gewürztraminer, yeah.
So I did like we picked a kind of a classic one, and then I did like a rose water lychee like scallop crudo.
Okay.
And then I made like a lychee granita.
All right.
And then like a rose water Campari like jelly.
That's good.
And then like on top was like bonito scallops, like a little umami pop.
That's like
with like olive oil. Dish. Yeah, it was like the most like, and it was one that I thought of, and then it took me a little bit to like dial it in, but like I was happy.
You pulled out all the stops for the tasting, like, cause my manager came back to the restaurant and he was like, Kun Mike, can you give me all the notes for all the wines? I'm like, shit, where did you go? Like he really got into it.
Yeah. He was we went deep. The last one too, like I did maple syrup and sherry. So comparing the oaked elements in it.
Yeah.
Then we did like monastrell and capsicum. So like spice. I did like...
What was that? A capsicum?
Capsicum, like spice.
Monastrell. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Spanish red, yeah.
So we did like I did like a Moquin demi-glaze.
Oh, man.
So I did like a classic demi, broke it down with cognac, red wine, everything. And then like finished it with like burnt Thai aromatics.
Burnt Thai aromatics.
Kaffir, all this stuff. Like reduced it down, then finished it with like this toasted Moquin. and like mounted cold butter and fish sauce.
Yeah, sounds
over
like
a grilled ribeye with like
Yeah,
a cocoa nip and like crunchy chili crumble.
I was gonna say it's like a all classic a play on the au revoir.
Yeah.
You know, with brandy and
Yeah.
but just with Thai ingredients and stuff. He came back. The manager came back. I was saying, he's like, okay, tell me if this wine is bitter, sweet, salty, or like he came to me with the diagram, bro. I'm like, whoa, bro, you're like this.
He's like, what happened to you?
What happened?
So I just got back. The shit was crazy. I mean, we went in, and now like I love Kim, and he's been a big supporter for a while, and it's great that he gave me even this opportunity, and I think we did good. It was very it was our first one. I think it went as good as it could, but like dialing it in next, and it was like bites, so it was like I gave 2 bites of each one. We compared it with 2 different wines that were like very similar but different to see like how you could even pair stuff, like because most people don't think that like
people just think red meat with red meat, white with fish, and champagne with anything. That's like the rule of thumb that most people have, so but they never go into the specifics like the way you guys did.
Now I can't smell sherry without smelling like curry powder and like maple syrup. Like I did like a Madras curry powder rub like thick cut smoked bacon.
All right.
And then did like a walnut crumble on it and like a coffee reduction with like vanilla.
What was the pairing with that?
That was like a dry oak sherry.
Dry oak sherry.
Yeah. It's like a very like oak classic, like smooth, like it was cool.
Vish loved that stuff. His Oloroso. Oloroso.
It was the same one, but like a same maker, but a different vintage or a different style.
He loves that stuff, man. The sherry.
Me too. Wow, I mean, I spent a lot of time in Spain, and every time I'd be at sherry bars, and I'm like, people don't understand this shit. It's like,
it's great. I mean, okay, I would not have Oloroso like every day of the week, but I would have like a Fino. A Fino is nice and light and crisp and like a nice entry place for people who's just getting into sherry. If you go straight to the Oloroso, the Amontellados, man, you might not like what you're drinking, because it's so powerful, man. It's like you really need to get there. You really need to get the palate to get there. It's like blue cheese.
Yeah, I put it on tap, man. Like if I had a restaurant, I'd have some
Fino on tap.
Sherry on tap, bro. Like it'd be like your little welcome drink. Let me serve you a bite.
Exactly. I tell Pablo all the time. I'm like, hey man, people need to drink more sherry. He's like, yeah, man. I'm like,
bring it in by the cask.
Walk the walk.
Come on, I thought you're Spanish. Shout out to my guy.
Yeah, shout out to Pablo, man. He's back from Spain right now, man. But I was gonna talk about the Kim, about how he's like such a big proponent of the wine movement here in Bangkok. He doesn't just I just sell wines and that's it. He has all these events like people go to, people from industry or non-industry alike.
He's just low key like the Godfather. He's out here like supporting, like he probably sponsoring football teams and like all that.
And then he supports all the other there is like a big community of wine importers right now. Like everyone is like supporting one another, blah blah. Yeah. And it's like it's refreshing to see. It's like, okay, Wine Garage supporting, vice versa.
We need that.
He's building a community as well.
I think pre-Michelin it was a little different here, and I think it kind of changed and shook people up in a way that made them competitive and kind of like pushed some people against each other slightly. But like, and then there's like bitterness. Like you can feel it, you can see it. People are like, these people came in and started capturing the audience, and I was like, well, y'all got stagnant. Yeah, it was like
that's
French,
not the way
French
to go.
Cuisine in Spain coming through and getting creative, and it was like, we got to break the traditions occasionally.
Right.
Like when I went to a brief culinary school when I was like 18, like did a 9-month program, and I just remember coming from my background and like growing up with all this Mexican flavors and stuff. Like I remember pulling a little bottle of like chili, like some like chilpatin or something out of my pocket and putting it in
salsa verde, salsa rojo,
putting it in a beurre blanc.
Yeah.
And my French train chef instructor was like, he lost his shit, and I was like, whoa. And he's like, you can't do that. And I was like, whoa, you can't do what? Like,
you can do what? Why not? Right? You have to cook with your intuition. Like you only get this spur of the moment thing. Like once or twice, like, okay, man, let's do it right now. Okay, I feel like it needs this.
I was like, y'all sending monkeys to the moon. I can't put chili in the beurre blanc. Come on.
Oh, and the French are super pissed, like beurre blanc, freaking hell. Like I'm from Thailand, so obviously I like spicy food, right? And then in culinary school, I would always add too much chili powder. It would always be like cayenne powder was like my thing, and then my instructor was always like yelling at me. I'm like, why are you making everything so hot? Like, you know what I mean? But it's just my palate.
Yeah, it's like, don't, like, leave me alone, man. Leave me alone. Like, let me show you later what I do.
Yeah, like taste the end product.
Believe in the process. Respect my craziness. Like, let me do my thing.
Exactly.
And we've proven points, like, you know, look back on that and we're like, haha, the whole industry's on the chili shit now. I was like, motherfucker.
Hot sauce. Everybody's making their own hot sauce right now. It's like a thing, man.
Yeah, I was growing chilies 10 years ago in Myeongsan, in Pai. You know, I opened my first spot there. I opened a Mexican brunch concept called Cafecito.
Yeah, you said, yeah.
And like, you know, I was growing habaneros, serranos, but like I was growing my own chilies, making my own hot sauces.
You're making your own tacos as well, and up in the mountains.
Yeah, we were pressing stuff. We were making like the torta bread. Like we were doing everything, man. Like I had to make my own queso fresco. Like we couldn't find stuff. Yeah. So we just like, you know, acclimated.
It's dope, man. Instead of going like for some cow soy like up in the mountains, it's like, I mean, I was have a taco, you know.
Breakfast, like, you know, my first 9 months in the north, I was like ham mix and cow soy namnio like every day. I was just like, this shit is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I still have a plan to like open I want to open like some that pays homage to like my, you know, inspiration.
Your upbringing and all that stuff. You know, your upbringing with the.
That's why I did Cafecito. You know,
Latinos.
Because that's my respect of like.
Yeah, the name.
Paying homage to like the Latino culture and the Mexican culture, and now like I want to pay respect to like my Thai, you know, upbringing of the last 15 years and like figure out how to like, you know, put this in the right place. Like I literally have a couple like things in the works. I'm like, yo, little cow soy spot in New York, like, you know, would be pretty cool.
Yeah, man, you could
just a little corner spot in the South Bronx or something like.
Yeah, man, the Thai food in New York City is unreal, man.
Yeah, it's changing, man. It's coming.
It's unreal. People don't just go for like khao pad kapao, you know, red curry, green curry, yellow curry, whatever. Like they are going into like the Isan food, the southern food, the northern food, like and I've realized like the chili tolerances of the Westerners have increased, man.
Thank God.
They get, dude.
I'm sick of that question, bro. Out of everything I get asked all the time.
กินเผ็ดได้เหรอ
กินเผ็ดได้หรือเปล่า นี่
เฮ้ยได้เว้ย
เมื่อก่อนปลูกฮาบาเนโร่แล้วก็หายคนลองไหมครับฮาบาเนโร่นะ
ไม่เผ็ดพริกขี้หนูพริกขี้หนู
They don't know. They eat it with like กินกับแก้มนะ The fuck, and then they eat it like, pitching that. I'm like, bro, calm down, man. Like, you know, I told you it was spicy. You didn't believe me. That's what you get.
Yeah, you'd be like, hey, man, we've been using habanero in our cooking for like years, man.
Yeah, you call me a liar.
Yeah,
I mean, I know where the chilies come from. Like, we got respect for that.
Yeah,
it's like, what was Thailand? Why do they call it like pepper pig Thai? You know, it's like.
Pig Thai.
You know, it's a reason because it originates from this part of the world, and we used to use it in various stuff. I mean, there's multiple reasons behind it, but like, you know, even Africa, like before they had chilies, they had various versions of peppercorns, and that's where their spice came from. Yoruba African food, they love spice. You go to like, you know, Western or Eastern, like South America, Brazil, Bahia, and El Salvador, like, bro, like that shit's crazy because it's like Yoruba African food with like South American ingredients would put shit on the map. Like, look at the things we contributed, you know? Like, when I was in Peru, I got to work with, like, National Geographic writers, like, people who, like, knew their shit. I got lucky because I was blessed. My boy ended up playing soccer with Anton Gaston's son in college. So we got linked with, like, the whole Peruvian squad. Like, I ended up at Central the first year they opened. Like, the first couple months they were open, I ate there, hung out with Chef, did a pisco tasting. They had, like, 100 or 50 different kinds of pisco. I'm like, you know, I didn't even know, but I was like, yo, these dudes are wild, and they're going to be on the map, and then look at it later. Like, this was 2011.
Damn, now they're, like, the top, the top 10.
I was hanging out in the rooftop garden, picking herbs with them. Like, they convinced me because I was on a strictly no polished food diet. You know, I was like, I only want to eat the real shit. And, like, there was, like, one of the only, like, nice meals I ate this whole 11 months in 20 countries. in 5 continents.
Unreal, man. Central, like I have their cookbook, right?
Yeah.
And
I
like,
know. I would love to see that.
And like you can never cook from it because the ingredients are like all new to you. You're not like, okay, tarragon, okay, maybe I can substitute it with mint or what. This is like some herb, bro. Some never heard before herb that they just picked from the Amazonas.
It's crazy, bro.
Different, like piranha.
Yeah.
Piranhas, like what does piranha taste like? A sea bass?
Yeah.
You know, it's
I mean, Peru has, I think it's in the top 3 of most microclimates in the world.
Okay, what do you mean, like a top 3 like as in
like
diverse?
The biodiversity of that country alone is like
right
more wild than any place in the world almost. Like Mexico comes in the top 3 too.
Oh,
so
Mexico.
we talk about food meccas and places that put shit on the map. Like, the ingredients, potatoes, tomatoes, chilies come from there. Look at Mexico, vanilla, chocolate, like all these things that they contributed to the world. And they've been doing, like, that was their currency. The Mayans were trading with cacao.
Oh,
That was their money.
I see.
Like they have like a crate, like they pay like homage to it. Corn was like
their thing, man.
they
God.
believe like we are corn. Like humans derive from like this plant, and then the sacred like trinity of like the corn, peas, squash, like how they would grow it and how they would like shade and comfort each other and provide nutrients throughout the cycles. It's like the ultimate biodiversity. Like talk about regenerative agriculture. Like we've lost sight on everything.
Yeah.
Like it was already placed in front of us thousands of years ago, and now we're like monocrop it all.
Yeah,
like I want to eat fucking plant-based hamburgers, and I'm like, yo, you're crazy. You trying to save the world by doing the wrong thing, like, and to each his own.
To each his own.
But like, there's only so much we can do, and like, obviously, judging and like, coming about it in a certain way doesn't help anyone because the tone sets it.
Man, that's super deep, bro. But it's like, wow, it's the Mayans. I mean, corn just gets to me because I learned this in school, and corn used to be like the first corn was like, it's like tiny. It's like the size of like your pinky. And right now is like he's huge, brother. Just
alternating kernels, like it was like everything.
Everything,
Some of the
yeah.
first tomatoes looked like
no uniformity, nothing. The colors, they weren't yellow. They were like brown and gray or something. Like it didn't look appetizing, but they were like the heirlooms.
Yeah, heirlooms.
The heirlooms are the best, right? The heirlooms are just.
We talk about flavor, and that's like the whole Dan Barber's and the third plate, and going into like. I read that shit but way back, and like I just remember like that inspiring me as well, and a couple other things that inspired me to be like, hold on, like what is this shit, and like how do we even like value it? I'm like, what's the deal?
Gotta read that book, man. I have gotta check back on Dan Barber.
I might have a copy at home.
You got a copy.
Let me see if you can't find it in Thailand. I think I have a copy.
Should be okay. I think I should be able to get it at the Kino Kuniya.
Yo, I got the membership. I was there yesterday.
The 10%.
I don't know, man.
The membership
card. I moved
card.
too fast to care. I'm just like, I'm broke, but like, give me the book. I gotta go.
Yeah, that's where it's at, man.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
But it's good. It's good.
Dude, we've been here for like a hour and a half, man. Good. It's amazing.
Nice. I mean, like I said, anytime if you want to keep rolling.
Yeah.
I got time, but I know you got somebody coming on next, so whatever's good.
Yeah, it's all good, bro. I might have to go and meet up with my wife a little bit, catch up.
No, of course, that's probably the responsible thing to do.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Joe.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Like really, it's just opened my world up just to what is possible with all these vegetables and the seasonalities and sustainability. And also about about the footprint of whatever you do, whatever you're eating, whatever you're buying. It has a footprint. You're leaving a mark on something. Yeah. You're not just buying it for the sake of buying it. Like it actually affect the whole system, like the butterfly effect.
Sure. We need to be more conscious.
We have to be more conscious, exactly, and just unreal, man.
Yeah.
So good to talk to you, bro. So good to meet you as well.
Pleasure, man. We'll definitely do it again soon.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'd love to cook with you, man. It'd be fun to do.
Yeah, have a pop up soon, man. Have a pop up at Asok Pie Shop. Maybe after the Motgal episode, and then you can come, or even before.
Whenever, man. Let's wrap on it. We'll figure it out.
All right, bro.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Cheers, mate.
Peace.
Peace.
So I sweat on your head.